What's up, YouTube world? Hollywood here. Today on Hollywood's Historical Ancestor Sunday, Barack Hussein Obama II. Barack Hussein Obama II was born the 4th of August, 1961 in Honolulu, Hawaii. He went to Occidental College in Los Angeles, California, then to Columbia University in New York City, and eventually graduated from Harvard Law School in 1991 with his JD and magna cum laude. He married Michelle Robinson and had 2 daughters, and was eventually elected President of the United States of America and served 2 terms. He is my 37th cousin, 4 times removed. This is how. Barack Obama is married to Michelle Robinson, and his mother, Stanley Ann Dunham, was married to Barack Obama Sr., and her father, Stanley Amar Dunham, was married to Madeline Lee Payne, and his mother, Ruth Armour, was married to Ralph Dunham, and her mother, Gabriella Clark, was married to Harry Armour, and her mother, Susan Overhaul, was married to Christopher Clark, and her mother, Louisiana Duval, was married to George Washington Overhaul, and his father, Gabriel Duval, was married to Mary Grable, and his father, John Duval, was married to Anne Tarleton, and his father, Jacob Duval, was married to Mary Bourne, and his father, Maureen Duval, was married to Elizabeth Jacobs, and his mother, Susanna Brasseur, was married to Maureen Duval, and her father, Benoit Brasseur, and his mother, Elizabeth Falk, and her father, Chanley Falk, and his father, Gerald Falk, and his mother, Jane Ransford, and her father, John Ransford, and his father, John Ransford, and his mother, Alice Owen, and her mother, Catherine Glanville, was married to John Owen, and their daughter, Joan Owen. Her son, Thomas Peck, was married to Ursula Giban, and their daughter, Anne Peck, and her daughter, Elizabeth Southerton, was married to Thomas Warner, and his son, Augustine Warner, was married to Mary Townley, and their son, Augustine Warner II, was married to Mildred Reed, and her father, George Reed, was married to Elizabeth Martial, and his mother, Mildred Winbank, was married to Robert Reed, and her mother, Frances Dimmick, was married to Thomas Winbank, and her mother, Anne Talboys, who was married to Edward Dimmick, and her mother, Elizabeth Gascon, who was married to George Talboys, and her mother, Margaret Percy, was married to William Gascon, and her father, Henry Percy, was married to Eleanor Poynians, and his mother, Eleanor Neville, who was married to Henry Percy, and her mother, Joan Beaufort, was married to Ralph Neville, and her father, John Plantagenet, was married to Catherine of Roe, and their son John Beaufort, who was married to Margaret de Holland, and their daughter Joan Beaufort was married to James Stewart, and his father Robert Stewart, who was married to Annabella Drummond, and their daughter Margaret Stewart was married to Archibald Douglas, and their daughter Margaret Douglas was married to William Sinclair, and their daughter Margaret Sinclair was married to Walter Ogilvie, and their son James Ogilvie was married to Margaret Inez, and their daughter Elizabeth Ogilvie was married to John Grant, and their son John Grant was married to, and their son John Grant was married to Marjorie Wilson, and their son John Grant was married to Christian Rose, and their son William Grant was married to Janet Rose, and their son John Grant was married to Hester Foote, and their son William Grant was married to Margaret White, and their son William Grant was married to Mary Morris, and their son Alexander Grant was married to Susanna Morris, and their daughter Margaret Grant was married to James Morgan, and their son Perminter Morgan was married to Charity Young, and their son Elijah Morgan was married to Nancy Smathers, and their son Jephthah Morgan was married to Laura Robinson, and their daughter Lillian Morgan was married to William Harris, and their daughter Margaret Harris married Frank Brookshire, and they were my dad's parents. That's it for today's show. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Be sure to give me a thumbs up, share, and subscribe.